Where Hollywood Hides. Here's Bob and Suzanne.
A chicken joke! I'm Mrs. Cleaver.
From Television City in Hollywood.
Boy, the way Glenn Miller plays.
I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
We're on a mission from God.
Run, Forrest, run!
We can rebuild him. We have the technology.
You had me at hello.
Nanu.
Baby, you're the great.
I'm not going to be ignored.
Here comes the judge.
Go ahead. Make my day.
I got nowhere else to go.
Small cowbell.
That fashion.
There's anything wrong with that.
You can't handle the truth.
I'm not an actor. I'm a movie star.
That's the story of my life. No respect. I don't get no respect at all.
I'm the dude.
I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
And now for something completely different.
There's no business like show business, like no business I know.
Welcome to Where Hollywood Hides. My name is Bob McCullough.
And my name is Suzanne Herrera McCullough.
Hi, Suzanne Herrera McCullough.
Hi, Bob. I just want to remind our audience about our book, Where Hollywood Hides, Santa Barbara, Celebrities in Paradise. You know, the holidays are coming, and it's a great time to shop around, and this is a great book to give as a gift. It's a coffee table book. Santa Barbara has always attracted internationally famous Hollywood personalities who have somehow responded to its allure as the ideal place to live, work, and play. Then as now, when the glare of life on the red carpet demands escape, Santa Barbara beckons as the place where Hollywood hides.
And the book is available on Amazon.com, Where Hollywood Hides, Celebrities in Paradise. While we're speaking about books, I have two new books about screenwriting because I've spent years answering people who ask me, would you please read my script? I came up with a solution, and the solution is stop screwing around and write a screenplay that sells. It's a step-by-step guide to writing your script that actually gets produced. You know, if you're serious about screenwriting, then you're serious about seeing your script turned into a real movie. In this book, I cut to the chase with a no-nonsense approach that will bring your writing on a par with Hollywood's professional screenwriters. The fact is, Suzanne, making movies is a complicated business, but it all starts with the script. And my little book here gives you all the tools to write a screenplay that sells. Also available at Amazon.com.
I just have one thing to say to you.
What's that?
E.T. Go Home.
Well, that's a great intro to today's guest.
I'm so excited. So excited. I love her. I love her.
Dee Wallace, who played the mother in Steven Spielberg's E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial, has become known as the Scream Queen, with over 200 motion picture credits, a lot of which are in the horror, thriller, terror genre.
Isn't that crazy? She went from the vulnerable single mother to a scream queen.
Right. I guess she's pretty good at screaming.
She's a great actress.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Dee Wallace is just a terrific person. Wait till you hear her talk about her kind of philosophical approach to acting, and it's a terrific conversation. So let's get to it. Here's Dee Wallace.
Grew up in a pretty poor household. We lived with my grandmother a lot of my life. Dad was a salesman. My mom was a secretary. But they were also incredibly creative people and very raised in a very religious Methodist, which is kind of an oxymoron if you know the Methodist religion. It's the easiest of the Christian religions. But my mom would put on these amazing religious plays at Easter and Christmas, and my grandma would do the costumes, and my dad would do the scenery.
Oh, it's
and I started out as baby Jesus and ended up as the Virgin Mary before I left.
Your mom was an actress then?
My mom was an actress and is probably the reason that I'm an actress, although I think you're born to do this, quite frankly. But she did performances in community theater and performed for the mayor and the music clubs and everywhere. So it was a real dichotomy of a childhood because we were very poor and yet we mixed with people in society. And my mom bartered her secretarial services to get me dance lessons. We were able to take violin in school at the time. Now we don't bless our children with free music opportunities, which affect their brain, but that's a whole other discussion. And ultimately, my dad became a very severe alcoholic, committed suicide with a gun when I was a senior in high school.
Oh, my God. That's a tough age, or any age is tough to go through that.
I'm not sure if the suicide was tougher than living with the alcoholism, though. I often said I watched him kill himself before he actually did. And then my brother followed suit about 3 months ago, my little brother.
So sorry.
So people ask me why I never have more than 2 drinks, and that's why. You know, because if you've got the gene in your family,
that's right.
You got to stay on top of it.
That's right.
So, and I went to the University of Kansas, got a major in education and theater, and a minor in journalism and psychology, and taught a year of high school, and said, God, if I don't get out of here now, I'm never gonna. And so I'd never been out of Kansas, and I moved to New York.
Well, that's
the
a big
day
city.
I landed in New York, I had an audition with Hal Prince.
That's a big leap going from Kansas to New York City. What was that like initially? Did you have entree to Hal Prince? I mean, that's a big step.
How it happened, and it's such a Hollywood story, we got the New York Times in the library at the school that I taught at, and there was a big article about how Hal Prince was looking for an unknown to star in A Little Night Music. So I wrote him this very cheesy letter and sent him this even cheesier picture that one of my brother's friends who had photographed for the high school newspaper took. And 3 weeks later, his secretary called me and said, Mr. Prince would like to fly you to New York to audition. Being the honest Methodist girl that I was, I said, I don't want Mr. Prince to pay for a ticket. I already have a ticket to come to New York. So, you know, he would have flown me first class and the whole deal. But I was taught to be honest, guys. So
that's a real Hollywood story.
And so the day I landed in New York, I took all my belongings, put them in a taxi cab, and said, could you take all this to this address, please? And they got there. And I went straight from the airport down to Rockefeller Center to audition for Hal Prince, and never thought that was a lot to ask myself to do, right?
How old were you?
I left for New York in the middle of my 26th year.
So you weren't a kid.
So I started pretty late.
Yeah, you were not a kid, but you had the temerity to write somebody a letter and suggest that they needed to see you. That's remarkable, and it shows certainly a sense of self, it seems to me.
Yeah, I would say my parents definitely gave me that, and gave me a lot of insight into creativity and reassurance that I was and that I am. I love the word naivete. I think it's way underrated. I was so naive that I wasn't scared.
Right.
And I thought, well, you know, hell, if I don't make it, I can always teach school, right?
Right.
So but the rest is kind of history.
So you found yourself in a musical directed by Hal Prince.
Well, I didn't get it, but it was a great first day, and let me tell you, I was there with the top gypsies in New York, and for your listeners, a gypsy is a singer, dancer, actor.
And they are hardened in the ways of show business, for sure.
Well, and they gave me all the best singing teachers, you know, where all the different acting coaches. Of course, I knew about Uta Hagen, and so I met a guy in an audition. He said, yeah, I'll audition for Uta Hagen with you, and he said, but look, it takes 4 or 5 times, so don't get disappointed. And I said, I'm going to do a little scene from Mary Mary. He said, you can't audition for Uta Hagen from Mary Mary. It's got to be like a classic, like a William Inge or something. I said, hey, I know this. So this is what I'm going to do. And she took me, my first audition.
Wow.
Well, good for you.
You know, there was that combination of naivete and having the chutzpah to know what was right for me.
A little daring.
And I think,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think that's so important for people in life, but it's really important for people in the arts, because if you don't know who you are and don't believe in who you are and don't know that you're enough as who you are, every single person you meet is going to tell you you need to be somebody else. And what they're really looking for is the authentic you. So you're really working against yourself if you don't allow yourself to just go in and go, okay, here I am, take it or leave it.
So given that, in terms of your career, all of the many roles you've done, and you've done 200 movies now, which is quite incredible. In all those roles, it's really you we're seeing, isn't it? It's really yourself that you're bringing to the part.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, that being said, there's so many parts of us. You know, we've all lived so many lives and been so many different people, queens and whores and hookers and mothers and everything. You know, there are definitely things that I do stronger and come more naturally to me. And if I had to sum that up, it would be heart-centered roles.
It wouldn't be.
Whether
It wouldn't
I'm
be
a hooker.
It wouldn't be Queens and Whores and Hookers for Dee Wallace.
Yeah, well, no, I played a lot of hookers, but I've played hookers with hearts of gold. Hookers that are trying to make themselves better.
Right.
Hookers. I played a mother that was a hooker by night so she could pay for her kids' college, right? Back in the days where we did movies of the week, and I was kind of queen of those for a long time.
You know,
So,
Dee, a lot of the roles that you played, some real vulnerability always comes through.
Yeah, Blake Edwards, when I did 10, Blake said, you know, Dee, I could line 9 little old ladies up and let you shoot them in cold blood, and they'd say, it must have been something her mother did to her when she was a kid.
God, that is so true. That is so true. No matter what role you play, there's such a vulnerability. I was listening to a TED Talk where you were where you were speaking, and we'll get to that eventually, but I just wanted to tell you, you came through, you almost made me cry. And that was you. You weren't acting, you were in a role, it was just you. And I must tell you, there's some real strength and vulnerability that comes through. So I know you've talked about this a million times, but our listeners want to know all about your role in E.T.
Steven saw the Howling and something else and called me in for used cars. And I auditioned for used cars.
Huh.
But Steven works really far into the future, and he knew he was looking for someone childlike and, as you said, vulnerable for the mother in E.T. And so when E.T. came along, they just called and offered it to me.
Really?
Yeah, another Hollywood story. I know. My life is kind of like a Hollywood story.
Yes.
And that's how I got that. We were in negotiations for quite a long time because a lot of people think you should just work for scale when you work for Steven because he's such a big director. But I didn't feel that was right for me. I had done a lot of films. I did a little film called Jimmy the Kid and gotten paid quite a substantial for me at the time. So I didn't want to go backwards, and so ultimately that worked out, and the rest is kind of history.
Now, after you read the script, did you have any second thoughts about doing it because of the content in terms of your career? Or
God, no. Oh, God, no. I read that script. I had to go over to the studio behind closed doors and read the script because they weren't letting it out to anybody.
Yes,
The working title was A Boy's Life. So I called my agent from that locker room and I said, look, I don't think it's going to do a lot for me as an actress, but I think it's going to do a lot for the world. and I want to be a part of this film.
That's an,
Yeah,
that's
and
an
I was
unusual
right, wasn't
motivation
I?
in Hollywood. My goodness.
I still know from all my personal appearances and talking with people that this film is still changing people's lives.
It's touched
It's
many
our Wizard
people.
of Oz, and it's going to go on forever.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And by the way, the Wizard of Oz was in Kansas, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned Steven Spielberg. You've worked with so many really seminal directors, people who have really put their mark on the history of film, ranging from Peter Jackson to Joe Dante and Wes Craven, Rob Zombie. I mean, these guys are icons in their genres.
Blake Edwards. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't remember him anymore, but Blake was our most proficient writer, director, producer ever.
And he was
all the Pink Panthers.
Oh yeah. No, he was no beginner, right? But of all those directors, who would you say was the most inspirational for you both as a person and as an actress, as opposed to a technical director or somebody who here's the script, let's just do these scenes, With whom did you actually bond the most?
That's a good question.
Because you worked with really the biggest names in the industry.
I have some of them, absolutely. I've been really blessed in that way to work with directors that really knew what they were doing, and I'm still friends with Louis and Joe. But I would have to say, as far as the director that really inspired me, that I became close to personally, it would have to be Blake Edwards. It was my first big thing, and he took me under his wing. I didn't know anything about anything, and he just kind of loved me and guided me and believed in me through that whole thing. And afterwards, he sent me up to his agency, and he told them, and he told me this. He said, Dee, I told him I don't work with many natural, brilliant actors, and this girl is one of them.
Wow.
So he sent me up there, and they looked at all my stuff, and they said, we love you. Come back when you're making $500,000 a year. And I looked at them, and I said, guys, when I'm making $500,000 a year, I won't need to come back here.
That's right.
And the next year I booked E.T.
Oh,
Wow.
wonderful. The hubris of some representatives is astonishing. When getting you up to that point of $500,000 a year, that's their job. Your job is doing the work, not getting
exactly.
The jobs. Yeah.
It's
a little.
And so that told me that's not the kind of agency I want to be with. Right now, I have been with Amzell, Eisenstadt, Fraser, and Hinojosa. Oh my God, I think 10 years now. They're kind, they're efficient, they've been in the business forever.
Right.
And there's no BS, and I know I'm going to be heard, and they know that they're going to be heard, and sometimes we really get into it just so we can get to the highest thing for me.
Sure.
And that's the kind of agent I want to work with. Mike Eisenstadt, for me, is he's it.
And he's been in the business for how long?
He knows his stuff.
Now, I want you to share with us your impressions of one of Suzanne's all-time favorites, and that's Dudley Moore.
Oh, dear God. Dudley was one of the most favorite people I've ever worked with. He was kind and fun. Dudley and I danced on many tabletops in Mexico.
Oh boy!
I'm so jealous.
And he and I and the crew, and on a lot of shoots, the stars don't mix a lot with the crew. I love the crew. I feel like one of the crew and company, and so all of us would go out and drink and dance on tabletops. And have fun, yeah. I said my whole experience on 10 was just trying to keep up with Dudley Moore, because he would improvise so much and he was so brilliant at it that I was just trying to stay in character and follow him. And I remember this one take we finished, and of course Blake had written the screenplay, and this was just when playbacks and monitors and everything were. So Blake was in a soundstage that was open that connected to ours, and nobody talked until Blake said something after a take. And we finished this one take, and there was a long pause, and he said, I don't know who the fuck wrote it, but we're going to print it. Because we had just gone all over the place.
That's funny.
You know, but it was just so brilliant working with Dudley, and I trusted him. And he
was an authentic person. My own personal very quick story. I was an usher, a page at NBC, and he had a one-day appearance on the show Laugh-In, and I got a chance to meet the guy, and he was pretty much unknown at that time. I think he'd done the movie Bedazzled, and I just introduced myself as kind of a fan, and he was one of those people who looked at you and he listened to you. He actually he engaged the minute you saw him. He engaged with people, and at that,
and he didn't judge anybody as less than him.
Exactly.
You know, well, that's
a unique person.
That's unique in our industry. You know that.
Oh, absolutely. So you've been in the business for quite some time, and amazingly, you have a daughter who's in the business who's fairly successful in her own right. Tell us a little bit about Gabrielle.
Yeah, I'm so proud of Gabrielle. She is an actress. She's got about 15, 17 films under her belt right now. She's directed 2 brilliant shorts that have won a lot of awards. Just optioned her first feature film to direct, and just released her first book, Eat, Pray, #FML, available on Amazon. Oh my God, you guys will love this book. Anybody that wants to get back to their own power and their empowerment, I mean, she, in a nutshell, she was married for a year and a half. We found out he was having an affair for 6 months.
Oh.
So she went through this very tough divorce, fell in love, as you often do after getting divorced, with this very charismatic guy who said, you have to come to Europe with me, which she had talked about since she was little, traveling to Europe. And so 2 days later, 2 days before they were supposed to leave, he said, you know, I think I've got to go by myself. Her dad dies on her. Her boyfriend in high school was killed right after they graduated by road rage. She goes through this divorce, and then she's abandoned by this guy. And she looked at me through tears, and she said, Mom, I'm going to go, and I'm going to go by myself, which put me into a panic. But I knew that was the best thing for her. And she went by herself. She stayed in hostels. But the message of the book is really how to find out your own self-worth and your self-empowerment and to love yourself again. It's an amazing millennial ride that all my healing clients that I have that are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, just that I get emails every day. I couldn't put it down, Dee. I just couldn't put it down.
Tell us a little bit about your healing clients and the new career path you're on, really.
Now, you're known as an international healer. You're a speaker, you're an author, a radio show host, and you promote self-love. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, do you have a day?
Sure.
Yes, the basis of all my work is we're literally taught to give ourselves away to everybody else, to serve everybody else first. And like on an airline, if you don't put your own mask on first, you really can't serve the rest of the world in the way you want to. It's all based on the I am principle. Your I am presence is spiritually based, but it's also the way spirituality talks about brain science. So religion, spirituality, and brain science, they're all saying the same thing, that if you truly know and know your own power and the power that you have in the creative process, you literally can move mountains. And I prove it every day in my own life, in my daughter's life, in my client's life. I have a free call-in show every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific time where you can call in. I'm a clairaudient channel, which means I hear truth. And you can call in and ask questions about anything you want and get guidance from the channel. That's what all my books are about. Also available on Amazon. Bright Light is the one your listeners would like the most because it's all about my spiritual journey through being an actor and what I learned.
Wonderful.
About how not to give myself up in this business.
So tell us how to call in on your show.
Well, if you go to my website, IamDeeWallace.com, on the home page, there's a whole little section up at the top that talks about my show, tells you how to call in, or you can click on it. You can go in and listen to a lot of the archives. You can listen to my shows on iTunes, on iHeartRadio. We're all over the place.
You are everywhere.
If you really want to empower yourself around sex or money or relationships or success, anything, we've got programs on the website, and everything's very affordable, and there's a lot of free stuff to start so that you can see if you even want to resonate with it.
Well, you must have some secret, because I can't think of anybody we've spoken with who comes from Kansas City, goes to New York, winds up in Hollywood, and has the career you've had. There must be some magic sauce.
I just love what I do.
Well, that was my next question. Was acting therapeutic for you?
Life's therapeutic.
Yeah.
I don't go into acting to heal myself. I go into acting to express myself. Mm-hmm. If I'm creating, I'm happy. So it was funny. My guy and I were just in Bora Bora, which was incredibly beautiful and a wonderful break, and there's nothing to do, which I needed for a week. But on the boat ride back to the airport, the girl behind me was going, "Oh, my God, I can't believe we have to go back into work. How are we ever going to go back into work after this? How are we going to adjust?" And I'm sitting there going, "Yay, I get to go back into work. I get to go do my private sessions. I get to go to audition again."
Well, sure.
And I kind of chuckled to myself that I think that's why the universe responds to me so much, is because I just love everything I do.
And you can hear it in your voice, and you're such an up person.
Well, when you get rid of all your BS, your energy gets lighter. And what most people don't understand is that we think it's the world fighting us. It's not the world. You're fighting yourself. For example, those of you that want to make more money and want to have more money, go back to your childhood and look what you were taught about money. For example, mine was, you only need what you need. God doesn't really like people who have too much money. They're the rich people. We're the good people. All that Midwestern crap that I was taught. And I say, when I speak, it took me until I was 30 years old to realize I really needed to go to Hawaii once a year.
Yeah.
I need to do some of that great stuff for myself, to honor myself, so that I can come back and serve others in my healing and my acting. If everybody goes back and looks at the limiting beliefs you were taught or that were modeled for you about what you're trying to create right now, you'll see literally the wall you're hitting.
I wanted to ask you, because I know everybody wants to know this, because you've worked so much in the industry. Do you have a favorite film that you worked on?
Oh, well, my favorite, not doing it, but my favorite film is Cujo.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Okay.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I just feel like I went as far as I could go, as truthfully as I could do it. And I'm really proud of.
How was working
with? But as far
with
as shooting a film, it would be The Howling, because Chris and I were engaged, and it was just one big love fest.
So, if you were to give any advice to new actors trying to make it in the business?
Yeah, don't do it if you don't love it. Be yourself. Know that when you walk into that room, you're there to serve the character, not to get the job. But be yourself. Be yourself and have fun.
Well, that's a wonderful message.
I mean, it ain't the cure for cancer, guys.
Right. It's entertainment.
And when I had my acting studio, I would tell my students, an actor has the capability to heal more people in one role than a doctor does in a lifetime, and I proved that with E.T.
That's a wonderful message. That's a wonderful message. Well, listen, as we wrap up, Dee, I want to remind everybody, what's your website again?
I am DeeWallace.com.
And I recommend that everybody goes look at her TED Talk, because
it's fabulous.
Your TED Talk is it's the real deal.
Bring tissues.
Yes. it's wonderful.
Well, thank you. You know, as everything I do, I wanted to serve, and I really wanted to empower people to empower themselves. And
you're doing it.
Yeah, just go to YouTube, guys, and put in TED Talk Dee Wallace.
Thank you, Dee, for your talent, inspirational thoughts, and your message that you convey.
It was a great interview. I've had a great time. Thanks.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was terrific.
Wow, does she have energy?
And you got to talk to the mom from E.T. Amazing.
I'm so excited.
This whole podcast thing is pretty incredible, the people we get to meet.
You know what I found out is that Steven Spielberg shot most of the film from eye level of a child to further connect Elliot with E.T.
Wow.
So that poor cameraman probably was on his hands and knees.
That's an interesting fact. I never knew that.
A little tidbit.
Absolutely great. Well, listen, this has been fun. I can't wait to see you again. Oh, before we go, though, I do want to mention, go to our website at wherehollywoodhides.com and check out our book, Where Hollywood Hides, Celebrities in Paradise.
We'll see you at the movies.